Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out AmItheA Whole. Story 1. AITA for showering every day. Recently my mother and I keep getting into a dispute about how she says I shower too much. I shower once a day. These showers are not excessive, and generally last 10 to 15 minutes. The reasons I shower every day include hygiene, obviously. It's nice to be clean. It's been really hot all summer, so I sweat more. The hot water is nice on my muscles. I have a chronic joint pain condition. We are a large family with multiple pets in a very small house, and it's a small respite of actual privacy. I honestly have a WAP, and showering regularly keeps things from getting excessively swampy. The reasons my mother offers for her displeasure are: no one needs to shower every day, and that every other day is fine. That I didn't used to shower every day when I was younger. Which is true, but then I grew up into an adult who sweats more. That I use too many towels and the laundry is excessive. I also do a lot of laundry, but it's the abstract use of extra water/energy to run the machines that she insists bothers her, not the labor of who's loading the washer. I have offered to hang my towels up and reuse them, but she won't let me because she claims it stinks. She's gone as far as angrily banning me from showering. I think the frequency and methods by which one bathes is going to vary widely by person, location, weather, job, and personal sweat profile. There's nothing bad about showering every other day, but I don't think it's weird or excessive to shower every day either. Again, they're like 10 minutes. There's no concern about hot water use. AITA. Story 2. AITA for not wanting to talk to my mother after telling me I will not be getting a family heirloom for my wedding. My mother and father had a very toxic marriage and finally divorced 2 years ago. My father came from an ancestral wealthy family and my mother did not. My father's mother gave my mother pieces from the family jewelry collection throughout the years. It was always my mom's intention to hand down these pieces for special occasions to myself and my sister. After my parents divorced, my mom absolutely hates my dad. She remarried within a year to a man of very humble means. She also moved on from my sister and I, truly focusing on building connections with her new stepchildren and doting on her new husband. I had a baby 5 months ago and she has only visited twice. They live life very simple and small, that is their choice. My mom will never receive something extravagant again. I, 35F, am getting married this fall. My sister, 33F, was married last year and after much pressure put on my mom, received a coveted platinum, gold, diamond, and sapphire bracelet from my great-grandmother's collection from the early 1900s. I asked my mom for a ring from my father's side that is a chiseled family crest of a rare stone set in a gold. She always hated this ring, said it was ugly and chipped. It dates back to the 1600s. I thought she would have no care for it since she hates my dad and it is my family. She said no. I will not receive anything, with no explanation. My sister and I figure that it's because our mom doesn't want to part with any of the collection because she loves fine jewelry. Mind you, my grandmother did give it to my mother, but she wants nothing to with that family, lives in an unlocked small house in the middle of nowhere with a known history of break-ins and kept everything from my father's side during the divorce. I am scared that someone will steal these pieces that have been in my family for hundreds of years. I also don't trust her new husband's family. I'm disgusted with her behavior and disregard. I find her selfish. Edit. I put emphasis on her new husband being humble because my mother is very materialistic. Humble meaning he has money but is not frivolous. He controls her spending and will not condone a large purchase of jewelry. I also should note that my mom told us from a very early age when we would be getting pieces. Marriages were one of the events. I also have never met his family but know there is a history of arrests for stealing valuables. AITA for wanting to cut her out because I find her to be immature, or am I the one who is immature? Story 3. AITA girlfriend and I broke up but she wants me to spend the holidays with her parents and our 2 children. My now ex-girlfriend that I am not with anymore together as of a week ago wants me and expects me to attend Christmas with her family 2 babies. I am still trying to slowly get over her as she still hasn't moved out to her new apartment, so we live together ATM. I told her I felt uncomfortable spending time with her if I didn't have to. She's calling me immature for not thinking about our children. I told her maybe next year, but right now this is all fresh to me and I would not want to attend. AITA? P.S. After telling her I got a lot of NTA. Story 4. AITA for not wanting my roommate to be at every event I go to. I, 26F, moved in with my roommate, 25F, in September and she left her group of friends. I invited her to hang out with my friends, but honestly lately it feels like she's at everything I usually would go to by myself. She's not very talkative at home with me, but every time she's hung out with them she will come home and non-stop talk about how they're so similar etc., and it's honestly kind of getting on my nerves. I guess I'm not used to a roommate being this involved in so many aspects of my life. She acts like a completely different person with me versus when she's with my group of friends. I've also overheard her talking about how she gets along so much better with my friends than with me, even though I feel like she doesn't really make an effort to talk to me most of the time. When my boyfriend comes over she also acts like a different person with him as well, and sometimes oversteps. I'm not sure how to bring this conversation up, but I am feeling like I need to set some boundaries. AITA? Story 5. AITA for telling my friend that the reason the world seems so bad is because he's not a very good person. I have a cousin, 29 male, let's call him Tom, who genuinely has a deep-rooted hatred for humanity, as in he constantly speaks about how much he hates people and how they are the maggots of the world and the earth would be better without them. He pretty much hates all people. One time we were having lunch when one of the waitresses kept asking him to repeat his order. She asked about 2 or 3 times, and as soon as she left he rolled his eyes and made a comment about her not being too bright. He does this quite often. He's really smart and treats everyone else like they are dumb, and then turned to me and made the "I hate people" comment once again, to which I replied, "You probably only see the worst in them because you're not that great of a person to others." I admit it came out a bit harsher than I meant for it to be, but I felt he needed to hear it. I think he got a bit offended but didn't show it and just told me he can't see the good in people anymore because in his job he always has to see the bad in them. He's a lawyer. Was my comment too harsh? Story 6. AITA for not being more sympathetic to my husband about his dying grandfather. Okay, my husband's granddad lives in Central Africa and is in his early 70s. He's got a couple of underlying health conditions which he does not take care of and routinely misses doses of medication for and engages in behavior he knows will make him worse. I was 6 weeks postpartum after a C-section when this situation kicked off, 3 weeks ago, so I'm very much still in need of help. We have no family nearby, and while our friends are good at listening, none of them have any experience with helping with a child or postpartum mother. So husband gets a phone call from his mother saying his granddad has been hospitalized and the DR can't figure out what's going on. They catastrophized and started saying, "Oh, maybe he's on his deathbed, come now." Husband left the same day 5 hours later on an international flight to go see his granddad. Turns out that he hasn't taken any blood pressure or cholesterol medication in months, and he's also been reckless with his blood sugar. Doctors stabilized him very quickly once they realized this, and he hasn't had any permanent side effects. Meanwhile, I'm still in pain and struggling from post-OP complications, struggling to produce milk, and having to take baby for regular DR visits, every 3 days. I get photos of husband on a beach, sipping from coconuts one night, at his uncle's for a barbecue another, going hiking on another day, etc., etc. I was furious. He came home last week, so after being away for 2 weeks, started telling me how nice it was that granddad came home a day and a half after husband reached there. I didn't say anything negative then, but on Wednesday he started comparing his mini holiday with me leaving one grandmother in India who was in ICU at the time to go to the UK for my granddad who died a few hours after I landed. I exploded at him that they weren't the same. I had 2 grandparents on different sides of the family actively dying, and they did die shortly after each other, because of organ failure and disease that couldn't be treated. I told him his granddad would have been fine if he'd bothered to take his meds, but he hadn't, and the end result was a needless hospital bill, a mini family reunion while I was struggling alone. Husband is saying I lack empathy and is being very harsh with me now. AITA for saying the truth? Story 7. AITA for snitching on my rasicked friend. Story 8. AITA for exposing my artist classmate of tracing her artwork. I'm an Italian student, and I'm in my last year of high school. In Italy, we have different kinds of high schools, with different programs. Mine is a graphic design course. In my class there's this girl who always needs to be the center of attention. This never really bothered me, since I never interacted much with her, nor her friend group. Until one day I decided to draw on my sketchbook during recess. I'm not great at drawing, but I'm practicing. After all, I'd like to take a 2D animation course at a nearby university, so I'm pretty serious about it. She was talking to a bunch of classmates when I heard her shout at me. She asked what I was doing, then walked in front of me and took my sketchbook without permission. She's taller and quite heavier than me, so I didn't try to take my sketchbook back. She decided to comment on my drawings, saying how they sucked and that I was weird for drawing naked people. They were anatomy studies. After looking through the sketchbook and criticizing everything, she started praising herself and how her art was way better. To prove it, she took her iPad out and showed everyone her artwork. Her drawings did look good, so I decided to just ignore everything and keep on drawing. In the background she kept on praising herself and telling me to stop trying. After class, on my way back home, I decided to find some inspiration for my next drawing. After some scrolling, I had a hunch. I decided to search for my classmates' drawings on Pinterest, just to satisfy my curiosity. Turns out, my suspicion was correct. Out of her 5 drawings, I had found 4 on Pinterest, which was more than enough proof to expose her the next day if she bothered me again. I saved them on a board and just went back to my regular scrolling. The day after, always during break, I decided to take my sketchbook out and draw a little. As soon as I started sketching, she appeared in front of me. She started blabbing again about how I was wasting my time, and a lot more nonsense. I let her finish, then asked her to show me her drawings again. She went to take her iPad and showcase her artworks to everyone. As she was taking her iPad out, I went to our class PC that was connected to a big interactive board. I opened Pinterest and searched for her drawings. As they appeared on the screen, I decided to start teasing her out a little, just to be a little petty and get back at her. Pretty much everyone was in class, so everyone had seen her drawings. The girl started crying and ran to the bathroom, which I think was done to get some more attention to her, and another classmate followed her. A bunch of girls came by saying how I had gone too far, and how I was doing this just because she was the only ugly girl in class. She is overweight and not that pretty, but that's not the point. I don't think what I did was too much, but some people in my class said I could have avoided publicly sharing it. What do you guys think? That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.